Hello, it's Jay here and welcome to another tutorial. In this lesson we're continuing on with the EnemyAI script, and here's where we left off last time. We'd defined a naming convention for state. We'd also set up our enum classes, and remember these act as values within the enum, each one of these states, and we'd set up the blocks ready. Now in this lesson we're going to work on creating a finite state machine for this AI. And what a finite state machine does, it allows us to switch on and more importantly off these blocks of code when applicable. So for example, when the enemy is in the idle state, all the code for the idle will be read, everything in this block, but none of the code for the other blocks will be read. And for example, when the enemy switches from idle to run, it's the same thing. Only the code for the run block will be read, and none of the code for the other blocks, including now the idle and the rest, will no longer be read. Now if we were to put all the code for the AI into something, let's say you like the void update, all the code would be read once per frame. So this helps optimization a great deal, especially on what will become a very long script. Now this will allow us to have many more enemies on screen at the same time. It also takes a lot of load off the processor, so again allowing for optimization within our game. So with all that said, let's go ahead and actually create this finite state machine. Now a finite state machine is just a switch block that allows us to switch, as I said, these functions on and off. And it can be of type private, and we're going to use the IEnumerate function because it returns value. Remember, like I said in the enum block, each one of these states acts as a value within here. So we need to use the IEnumerate state because void does not return a value. And I really suggest reading up the documentation on the Unity website regarding these functions, but for the purposes of this tutorial, that's the basic way in which it works. And we'll give it a name of SFM for finite state machine. We'll open and close brackets, we'll open and we'll close again. And the next line is going to be while open brackets true, and we'll close brackets there, we'll open and close, and we'll put this into the comments. So we'll say while the FSM is active, because at a later date we will be putting in code that deactivates the finite state machine completely if the player is sort of a very long way from the enemy. And the next line, we need to tell it what to switch, and we want to switch the state, and we use our naming convention of enemy state. We'll close brackets, we'll open and close again, and we'll put this into comments. So we'll say switch the enemy state, and then we'll come inside. Now all we need to do is create a case block for each one of these functions. So the first one will be case, we're switching the state, dot, and then we'll have the first state initialize, and we'll close the line off. Now pay attention, I'm using a different type of colon at the end of this line to what we would normally use. And then we need to call that function, initialize, open and close brackets, and close the line off, and we close the line off as normal. And then we break and close the line off again, and again we're back to using the normal type of colon. Now we can just copy this block and we can paste it in 6 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And I'm sure you've guessed we're just going to go through and switch the next one state to idle, and then we'll call the idle block there, and we'll just keep going through and we'll change them all. So there's run, the next one will be impact, and the next one for attack, and the final two. So there we go for strike, and the final one for the dead. Now, as I said, the enumerator returns a value, and these functions exist as values within the enum state, but this function also expects a numerical value, which we do not have. But we can fix that by saying yield a value, and we want to return that value, but because we have no value, we just say it's a null value, and we'll close the line off there. And we can actually save the script at this point. Now, we will be adding code at a later date within these functions that tells it when it needs to switch. So again, let's say we're in the idle block. Once we hit a certain parameter, it will say, right, now switch to the run block, let's say, and the run block will become active. But because of this switch block, the idle will then become inactive along with the others. And the same if we switch back from run to idle. The idle block will become active again, and the run block will become inactive. Now, as we go along and we fill out more code, I'll keep going through this again so you can really understand. But until then, if you have any questions regarding finite state machines or anything else to do with this tutorial series, please leave your questions in the comments below, and I will always try and answer them for you. As I said, there's documentation on the Unity website as well regarding these functions and switch blocks and various other things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you next time, and until then, bye for now.